All right, good morning.
Morning.
We'll start with our Public Works update. Go ahead, whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay, just two items on your consent agenda. One is the contracted bond execution for Roosevelt Grade paving project. So I'll move forward with that.
I just caught that.
Yeah,
We swapped the date.
yeah. Anyway, so we actually have a pre-con for that one tomorrow. So anyway, we're moving forward on Darland as well. And then we have one settlement agreement for the last one for Panic. I see I got, now I know I had the same date.
Yeah.
Disregard those pay estimates because we did those last week.
But we do have a public hearing
Yes.
today, not for the speed limits either, or Park Place.
That's the reestablish that.
Right, that's what's in our agenda.
Yeah,
That was, Roosevelt or Wishram.
Yes.
I'll do it now. I'm looking at this guy.
This
This
doesn't match this.
I apologize. It really has been one of those mornings. And I had it right at one time, but apparently we'll see what we end up with.
Okay.
Let's look
I'll
at
just
page
talk
2.
about the project.
Yeah, maybe it's.
Well, I'm worried because now I think I got all of it, old stuff. So Old Mountain contractor's still working on preparing subgrade so they can actually start surfacing. I'll just talk, it'll be better. I don't think everything's.
And so far, we're okay as far as like, we're not at level 4.
No.
So.
No, we haven't progressed, so everything is.
Because
still on
everything-
The weather is gonna help.
Yes, yeah, there's actually.
I don't have a lot of, I didn't get a lot of indication that waivers were really going to be handed out. So I didn't get a no.
Good.
So apparently at this point, it's a non-issue though, so.
Yeah, well, that's good.
That's good. We're almost getting to the point where it should be a non-issue for the rest of the year. So
Yeah.
that's good.
The weather's broke, we're getting dew and
Right.
eventually we'll get rain. So that will be good. So our grant funded Edgeline project, it's actually started this week. And so the contractor got materials and they're progressing with the roads that are on our list. Still waiting though on the materials for the guideposts and signing. That's still pending. The project's been suspended until they actually get materials to do the work. So West Darland paving project is on your agenda today for signature to execute the contract and bonds. And we do have a pre-con tomorrow morning for Roosevelt. And we'll work through that project, but they're all late season projects, but it should be okay because it's usually pretty dry and mild here for a while yet. Nothing new on Courtney Road. Still
Wait
work
for the calendar.
just waiting for the calendar. Yeah, the right time to put it out. It's
Well, I don't know. I think you changed it to 99% for
The other percentage.
Yeah, we've updated.
What's that other 1%? What is that?
advertising.
Oh,
Actually
okay.
advertising.
Advertising.
And then Klickitat path, kind of working through those details, although it's, we haven't done a lot on that. We've kind of been working on the parking lots here to get those ready. Those will probably be the first thing besides Courtney that go out. On the maintenance side, Bob's crew on the east end, they're doing grading, patching, hot mix patching. And they're actually helping Wayne's crew on the west side who are paving that section of Trout Lake Highway between where our project last year finished and the town of Glenwood. So we'll fill that piece in and we'll have it all the way back to the bridge, at least paved. So that's this week. And so Bob's guys, some of those are helping him haul hot mix too, since it's a long way away from the plant. On the facility side, you can see they're pouring sidewalk today on Court Street outside
I
the
wonder where
building.
they got concrete.
Yeah, they had a little more cloud and then their concrete.
Yeah, they got more clout than I do, I can tell you that.
Or our contractor.
Yeah, their concrete crew is.
No, for myself personally.
Yeah, so they've kind of bumped out lead contractors who are doing the entrances, so I don't think they get nixed until the 7th.
No, not till the.
So,
Okay, that makes me feel better now.
yeah. So they're doing the work on Court Street. They're also doing work in the alley and behind the building. So there's a lot of concrete pads left to pour around the backside of the building. And there's a concrete gutter that they have to pour before they can pave. And they're actually installing flooring. It's kind of cool to see the carpeting they're started on the 2nd floor. So they're working from Dave McClure's office toward your guys' office and chamber. So I think won't be long and that whole 2nd floor will have flooring down in the offices. I don't know if how long they're gonna wait for the hallway and that kind of stuff. You know, I think there's still work going on and they're worried that somebody may mess it up. So. Let's see, electricians still working Saturdays, so they're 610s, trying to catch up. And then the mechanical guys they're actually connecting. They finished the boiler connection and all the piping. So now they're working on the piping for the chiller. So they're getting really close. Most things are, it's kind of nice to see things finishing up. So we're getting to that point, which is great. Still a lot of work on the outside though. Let's see. Courthouse entry, I'll just let you.
We're demoed the north side. We can't get concrete, like the dairy's gone. So we'll demo it, form it all up, and then we have floors planned for the 7th, the 9th, the 11th. And that should pour out just about everything.
And handrails.
And handrail, and we still got the handrails. Yes.
Question on handrail, just stupid question. They're putting a little steel bar on the very bottom across, what is that? Is that just to match everything out there?
You're required to have, can't be more than that.
Oh, so some little
I think
thing
it's
probably can't
4
put his.
Yeah, it's
hand
4
or
inches,
something.
so,
Yeah.
and ours were,
Wow.
because of the steps, some of them are 4.5 or 5, so we just ran the whole thing to make it uniform.
You cannot, the code is a 4-inch sphere.
Yes.
Cannot pass through
Right, some of ours were 5.
That makes sense.
supposedly a baby's head.
Yeah.
I always think,
Small
what
head,
kid
but-
is, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I figured it was for a reason. I just couldn't figure out the reason in my head. And I just mentioned that.
Yeah, and it wasn't, you're right, we didn't have it before because it was existing.
Right.
But once we modified it, then we had to
You need a current code.
All right, so the entries are going, we're just delayed with concrete and as we have been on a lot of things in our projects. Last week and over the weekend, the fair went well. It was kind of nice. They usually meet every morning at 7 o'clock with the fair board and they said, well, I don't think we need to meet on Sunday morning, which was kind of nice. That's the first in a lot of years. I haven't done that, so things went really well. So it was a good fair and we didn't really, once it got going, we didn't really have anything to do other than our normal activities of grooming and other things that we do, but nothing broke or needed to be fixed or repaired. It just all worked like it should, which was great. And that's about it, other than the radio, if you have.
Well, yeah, actually, next Wednesday, we're flying the site with a drone. So that will nail down the site. And then we'll finish on, then we'll get together for our agreement and keep moving forward. Hopefully we can, talking to the consultant, they're saying about a year out on towers right now. Wow. I mean, they're usually long lead items anyway, but
The year.
they say
Yeah,
they're looking
that's a
at
lot
a year.
So what's your ballpark estimated completion? Because it'll change because COVID, you can't get any parts or pretty.
Right, so-
Probably a ballpark.
We're thinking by the end of 22.
So once we have the site nailed down and we decide what we're doing, I mean, even though the tower's a year out. I
We're gonna
assume there's
still
a bunch
move,
of
oh
stuff
no,
we
we're
can
gonna
do.
still move forward. Everything's gonna move forward. even if we don't have, we know we're gonna get the agreement with the conservation district. So I said, once you guys, the consultant needs to start designing the site. And we'll start getting the road laid out. So when we get, probably won't be till the spring, because I think you're gonna go from dry to really wet.
Right.
And so in the spring, when we get in, we'll build the road in. And then we'll have the road in, we'll be ready to start bringing in all our stuff. We'll start ordering stuff, work with Jeff to see what he has, that kind of thing.
Other
Follow-up issues?
No, this is my notes. Yeah.
All right, the only thing I had was the Murdoch speed change. I was reached out by the citizen again and just wanted to. I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what they want from us other than just support for this change.
Yeah.
And I think we can, I think we can do that.
Yeah,
And,
Yeah.
And I had shared as far as, the last interaction we had with WashDOT was back when it was pre-COVID, really, as far as when they were looking at this. I think they are getting ready to actually implement.
And the citizen wants the speed change?
They want the speed change. They actually want more than,
I
I would
would
say, I was
think, yeah.
explaining the,
Right, right.
how they handle it in Lyle was, it was actually an incremental. We're in I think our second, it was changed again last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago. But it was a because you can't go from, you have to kind of retrain people's habits. And I was explaining the process. I said, I assume WashDOT has the same type of where they do speed studies, and then they're kind of bound by the same processes that we are when we look at changing speed limits.
Yes.
And it's not, you can't go from 60 to 30. It just doesn't work like that. And so you have to get, because you're not going to get people in the 85th percentile or whatever the process is, because they're just, if you're used to driving that speed, you're going to continue. And so you have to kind of retrain people. And so you seem to understand that. So I'm not sure what we can do other than if there is some kind of official action, a letter or something that could come from the board.
there will be eventually. They actually asked for concurrence
Okay.
when they changed. So when they changed them in Trout Lake a couple of years back by the school
Right.
and in the town, they asked for a concurrence letter from the engineer. And so we'll do that same
Okay.
process. And if we want, we can add a letter from the
Okay.
board as well. Support.
Would it be, and I know you're busy, but would it be okay if I forwarded this last email and you just?
Sure.
explain that?
Yeah. You know,
And then here I am right now.
It's already got it typed up, just.
So do you, or do you want me to give it to Jeff? And Jeff. Where are you? Oh, there you are.
That's awful.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, thank you. That's all I had. Things. I did have one person asked about the school bus, the turnarounds and stuff on the end of Hannakinnick Road. When are we going to actually construct those? And then
Yes.
when is that on the schedule? We'll do it. The crew will. I assume the crew will
This
just do
fall,
it.
hopefully.
Oh, hopefully this
Yeah.
fall. Okay,
Yeah.
because I didn't know. I
So we'll
said,
have
I
it.
don't know if we have, we just are acquiring a property now, so.
We try to get those done pretty quick.
Okay,
because they help everybody out.
Yes.
okay.
Do we have an ETA or some kind of timeline on when that building is gonna disappear from the window?
So we're opening bid small works the 7th, for the concrete work and the site work up at the fairgrounds. Yeah, but we can't really do anything until, probably springtime to move it, because Dave will be in there until November
So the
sometime, and
day-
then it just
the day before we
weather
move
gets
it.
us.
Yeah.
That spring's
Stuff
good
will be in
answer.
there, Dave.
Yes.
Leave him in there. He never leaves it anyways.
Move out to the fairgrounds. Yeah, I'm not convinced he's not sleeping in there.
We'll never find anything ever again, so. Okay, good answer.
He did move once before, so it is
It is
possible.
possible, yes.
It is possible.
It always goes to Stone.
Yeah, it was a multi-year. Okay, I think that's it.
All right,
Thank
Totally
you.
off topic, Central Premix out of Sunnyside has been really responsive. to concrete.
Really?
Okay.
Good to know. It's a little far for me.
Yeah,
It would work for Goldendale, but that would free up for,
Yeah,
yeah,
for you.
yeah, well, that's good to know. Well, I'm between this project and the other one, so,
Ah,
because I'm before the 7th, so.
yeah, our guys didn't take it
What's
serious.
that?
You actually on a list?
Yeah.
No, so I
You
heard.
have more clout than you.
Yeah, yeah.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, they show up with their pump trucks as early as like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So they are.
Is it affordable too?
I mean,
If
the
you
market
need
is the
concrete,
market.
it is, yes.
It is what it is.
Yes.
I didn't ask what it costs.
I
It's
think
like,
the delivery charge might be a little high, yeah.
Well, we're doing it in Bickelton.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
for
so
you,
that's
it's
good.
cheaper that direction.
So.
Thank you, man.
Oh, you good job. Okay,
Good morning,
morning.
Madam Auditor and Deputy Auditor,
So,
AKA Concrete Wizard / broker.
I get nothing out of it.
Whenever
so,
you're ready.
yeah, we certified our election and we had a very pathetic turnout. And then within the required timeline, we had a request for a manual recount from Hospital One, and they paid their fee, which is just shy of $720. So had a quarter of voter, I believe. And isn't it 24?
Quarter of ballot, yep.
Quarter of ballot. And so we don't have a data location established at this time. We have the RCW and WAC listed there. Reached out to Secretary of State. They're going to provide us some best practices and some other guidance. They're working on that. So
What is the role of the canvassing board in the recounting itself?
certifying the results that are hand counted. So
So all of these won't get run through the machine, you'll actually.
none of them, nope.
You'll look for hanging chads.
Sorry. Go there. Well, we need to finish it one day. So, yeah. So generically, just a high level overview is we have teams, they sort the ballots, they separate them by precinct, we balance those stacks to what we had for a turnout. And we keep the ones that are involved in this proposition. And then those teams, those ballots are divided amongst those teams and they're counted by hand.
When is the last time we have ever in this county done this?
Rossi Gregoire in 2004. And I was in Stevenson at that time, and it was a hand count, and it was huge. It was statewide.
And do we use volunteers or is it all internal?
We need to have people that are trained. And so if we have to reach out, of course, we have to invite and request observers from both parties.
Sure.
So that's just a high level overview of the process.
You invite the parties on something that's not partisan?
Yes.
That was my brain working.
That sounds more like
So there's
mine.
one of them now.
I was gonna say, man, Jake, you need a little oil. If that was your brain
I'm
working.
gonna get a concrete
That was
sheet
the
right
cause
through
for
that.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You need some oil thing.
There's a concrete you ordered.
So currently, we have 5 write-ins for the general election. People can file as a write-in up until 8 o'clock on election night. I've listed the positions and the entities there. The advantage for them to file before 5 o'clock on October 15th is if there's a filing fee involved, it's waived. after 5 o'clock, October 15th, they pay the full filing fee.
But no matter what, they still don't make it on the ballot though, correct?
Right.
So they just don't have to pay the fee. They don't actually. make it on the
They're
ballot.
not printed on the.
They
Well-
know one that's not on this list already, so.
So, and military and overseas ballots will be mailed on or before September 17th for the November election. Any questions on elections?
You know another one who's intending on filing?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I kind of picked up on that. I was gonna ask him in a public meeting. I heard what he said. I just kept on it going.
Yeah, I said it kind of nonchalantly, so, but since we're
I
gonna talk
did-
about it,
Yeah.
yes, moving
For
on.
what position?
School board.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I know somebody that's interested in the Oakville School District as well, but I didn't think they were gonna file as a write-in. Maybe that's changed, or maybe it's a different person. So finance, unfortunately, the budget worksheet was rolled out very late to users. They've been very generous and understanding, and most people are busy entering. Even though we only have a handful of departments that met last night's 5 o'clock deadline there, we've had plenty, Jen and I have had plenty of communication with people that are working on it. So that's where that sits. On my end, I know Jen has a lot more on her end. SAO, the annual audit should be wrapping up the next week or two, because if we don't wrap it up, we probably won't meet our September 30 deadline for filing our federal grant report September 30. So there's a few departments working on outstanding items related to the audit, and we're in direct communication with them. So, and Tuesday, September 7th is a day to celebrate because our new account starts that day. So
They have a place to live.
she's been in communication, said that they made an offer on some land. So I don't know what that means.
Okay. It's
She's
just,
going to.
we've had, because we've had several people that have accepted and then they
Near misses.
near misses.
Well,
can't
they
find
don't
places
want to
live.
rent, and there's plenty of places to buy, but not a lot of places to rent.
Right.
So,
How far away is this person moving here from?
she's coming from Lincoln City.
Does this fully staff your department now?
Don't jinx me.
I'm just, that's one of my. And I-
We count all of the heads, I believe so.
And what would you say ballpark we've spent in recruiting for this position over the last years?
I can gather that
I just
information.
want to throw a ballpark. I'll never hold you to a number when I say ballpark.
Well, you know what we spent for Providence, so.
Did we do that multiple?
No, we did it once, and then I've advertised several other times, several other places, so I would have to gather that.
Idea 5,000 to 7,000-ish.
Oh, it's with Prothman, I guess we're close to probably 8,000 or 9,000.
Good enough.
I'm just guessing, and that,
No, and that's all I'm asking for.
I mean, it could be way off.
Right. That's all I'm asking
Either
for.
way,
That's what I said, I
you
won't
think
hold you
that's
to it
about-
one way or the other.
All the different places I've advertised.
Prothman was by far the most.
Oh, I know.
expensive, But I don't know what I don't remember. what
Well, it's been
Prothman
so
was.
long that if you did something 2 years ago, you may not remember it either, so that's. why I
It
said I'll
wasn't
never
2
hold you
years,
to
it was a year ago in March.
So is that audit going on?
So far, there are some things, there will be some good things. Or good things, there are good things, but there are some things that'll be on the audit list. See, you got me going.
Sorry, I'm trying to learn. so-
I don't like trying to throw a number out there when I'm just not sure.
Well, I like to know guesstimate, because it's not a big deal to me, so I'm just trying to figure out a guesstimate.
I can
And
get
when
it.
people are like, I can go look it up, and I'm like, no, you have way too many busy things to do than go trace a number that really isn't that important to me, which is why I was asking for a guesstimate. So don't waste your time looking at them.
Okay, all right. So yeah, the audit's going okay. There are some things that'll be on the exit comments and maybe a management letter. We don't know yet. Okay. So nothing new in licensing. And as I mentioned last time I was here, recording increased $100. Oh my gosh, some of the people that should have known that do recordings called, your sister-in-law's the one. What are you charging me so much for?
Did you just transfer her call to the legislative?
I should have, I should have. I said, where have you been? Under a rock?
Under a rock.
Yeah, so anyway, but I had to chuckle when it was her.
Yeah,
The general public I could see.
she should know better.
And our revenues aren't gonna increase, like with everything else. All these extra fees that come from the legislature go straight to the state. They get dispersed different places in the state.
You take the nasty calls, they get the check.
Of course, same
They
with
get the
licensing.
check back.
That's the best part of being a subdivision state.
Yeah, yeah.
Make
Yeah,
you money,
yeah.
you get paid.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing new in the veterans at all, so I told you all about that last time, to think of anything. So,
No questions here, thank you.
okay, Dan's thinking.
No, Dan asks his questions during, otherwise he'll forget. So,
You have a friend?
right, what?
Did you have a friend you were getting out of there?
No, there's a coffee ground.
Oh, okay.
in my coffee ground.
You were really looking intently.
Can we go back since we have a
Yeah,
little bit of time? Back, because I just really want to understand the recount.
Yeah.
How that's gonna work as far as, so you explained as far as so what ballots are like the universe of ballots is gonna be the same as it was in the initial manual or the machine count.
Yeah.
So there's no opportunity for additional ballots to be brought into it's just a question of checking the math between the machine and the human, making sure that the machine counted the ballots correctly.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, and that's,
So, and if nothing changes, which I'm anticipating that's the case.
Right.
Then they pay the bill for the whole recount. They have a deposit they've made, which is by statute, 25 cents a ballot. So they deposit a little more because they brought it in, and Heather told them, we can't give you change. You know, we don't have a way to give you change. So they have a little extra that got deposited, and if it changes, then we give them their money back. So, the ballots, when they come in, they're all just, you know, the signatures are scanned, they're opened all in one, and they're put in batches of 100 that we scan through the system.
Right.
So it's not like they're pre-sorted to certain precincts. So all those will have to be sorted out by precinct
Right.
and balanced.
which is encoded on the ballot.
On the top.
itself.
Mhm. And so then you'll have to make sure that all of those that get pulled out, that if there were 315 from precinct X, that's what you have in that stack before you ever start. And I mean, this is, you know, we have precincts on the east end, we have City of White Salmon, we have Lao School District. So, besides hospital.
So is the 25 cents a ballot statutory?
Yes,
So, because I'm looking at $709 to do a recount, 2,800 ballots. So how much money are we gonna lose on this?
they'll pay the difference if there's not a change.
No. I'm just saying it's gonna cost us employee time and everything.
Right, they'll be billed for that.
Oh, they get billed for that on top of the 25 cents
Yes,
a ballot?
that's a deposit.
Oh.
And they gave us 720, I think, didn't they? Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, and you had a question.
Ballot, where do ballots go to die? So when you're done with this recount and the election is certified and over, you have to hold on to ballots for a certain period of time, and then when you're done, they go in the garbage can or do you get incinerated? How's that all work?
They are held according to retention. Now, a special election, I believe, is 90 days. I'd have to look that up to
Right.
make sure. Federal election is 18 months, and then after that, they're put in the shred bin and shredded. And they're documented that this is what we did with them on the state.
And I'm assuming the retention schedule is based on
State
you only
Secretary-
have
Some
the
RCWs.
Right.
It's a Secretary
far
of
as
State's
to-
retention schedule.
contest, and so we want the evidence to still be around.
So they'll all
until-
be
but once
sealed
those-
in a container when they come in here or in wherever we choose to you know.
That was my next question. Since we've
Depending
done
on
one
how
of these
many-
since 2004,
I know.
where,
Depending on how many teams the secretary recommends we have for the size of election this is. Oh, Skamania County, I can't speak to this county, but Skamania County, we had 29 precincts. And they brought in, I want to say 14 teams. And they handled 2 or more, depending on, because like we have a precinct river that's only got a few in it.
right, so.
And there were some like that in Skamania County.
Right.
So depending on the size of that. And they had those, they were all set up in the basement of the museum, the library. And, you know, we had rules and all that. and go through all
We had a
that.
bunch of poll watchers too during that.
Oh, yeah,
Like a whole bunch of.
here and there, yes. And Skamania County, the auditor at the time reached out to the parties and for all intents and purposes, every time he could, he had a DNR across from each other to do the work, which is what you should have. Whether it's partisan or nonpartisan, but we're gonna try to use staff. But it's very, very, I can't even think of the word.
So again, I just want to make sure I understand any ballot that has been disallowed by the canvassing board, there's not any opportunity to revisit any of those.
Nope.
Right, so we were literally just recounting,
Yes, the ones.
universe-
that
the
we
ones
should-
that, right,
Yeah. mhm.
checking the machines work.
Right, exactly. So in the Gregory Rossi recount, I can't remember which county, but Skamania and Klickitat, one of them was spot on and one was one ballot off. So
And that was a large,
that was
because
state,
that was
is governor.
statewide. So it's
Yeah.
governor, so there was a lot about, that's what I'm, you know, it's, I mean, anybody can ask, I mean, they can do the recount and they can pay for it. I'm just struggling with the point. But
Yeah.
Well,
the
I struggle-
margin there is very small.
it is,
Yeah.
but
If you're within that 7, 8, 9 for countywide, then I can see it, but
this isn't a countywide.
that's the thing, it isn't. So now you're looking at 1 or 2 that you might catch on the best day,
Right,
and you need way more than that.
Hopefully it's 0.
it should
Right.
be, yeah,
I mean, not that.
yeah, because
I wish
there's
it bad,
only.
but
how
it
many
is what it is. I want our election results to be.
Yeah,
spot on.
2,837 ballots.
What is
Yep.
the difference right now?
They had 59.1%, they need 60%.
What is that vote difference?
I didn't calculate it,
They need 60 or 60.01.
60.
No, yeah, not very many.
I say, I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Heather's
it was
gonna-
about-
Heather's gonna run the math.
Heather's gonna
Based on
do
the
it.
I
number
did
of
the
ballots.
math at one point, but it was the day before the final one.
Yeah, I'm thinking I have a number in my head. I'm not gonna.
But
speak
you-
Yeah,
it out.
I have one in my head, but I'm not.
There's 60%.
They
that
need
number.
1703, because it comes to 1702,
That's closer than I thought it was. I was thinking it was around 50.
so yeah.
So they need 17
And I don't remember how many they had.
out of 2,800 or 5,000.
Yeah, so. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't blame them for trying, but I don't think there's a chance of no.
Yes, you have to, due diligence.
This is their 3rd try, so they're trying to.
It's their right to do. and they-
Right.
Exactly.
Don't pay for
And
it.
the voter turnout was so low. That's what's so sad. Usually we have a high voter turnout, but we did not have a high voter turnout anyway.
Okay.
So I think somebody's waiting, and we have your credit card for you. Did you get my message? Heather grabbed it for me. Okay.
Thank you, ladies.
Well, have fun with that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'll be up when I'm done here.
No, I just grabbed it off.
I'll still be up. I got a problem.
Oh, you
Spend
got
the
a
day
problem?
watching, just.
Oh, well, you know,
Yeah.
Have a weird sense of-
Hey, you can't sing more next year.
Somebody, it won't be me.
You can't do it 2 years in a row?
Chairman does it.
The chairman does it. It's by statute. You can delegate if you're unavailable. You can do that.
Doesn't have to be a willful delegate.
I don't know. I don't know that it's ever happened before. A hostile delegation. I don't know that you're required to
Really?
accept the delegation. Nope. Because there are, sometimes, like, we would do that a lot of times if it was like some, routine thing, then, it's a long, because you have to do it in person. We did those days. I guess now, maybe not.
Oh, well, hello again.
Hello again.
How are you?
Whenever you're ready, Miss Whitney.
So I'm gonna start with the litter crew program. I'm currently interviewing for the position. However, I am going to decrease it from a 40-hour position to a 35-hour position. It still allows for benefits. However, it does decrease the amount of time just in case there's a overlap of time over the winter that they can do outreach and education, that kind of stuff. So I'd rather see a performance to be able to maybe increase that back to 40 hours here in another year, depending upon what the performance of whoever I hire is.
So are we looking at your 3%?
Well, that's not 3%, but it's a small reduction. It is a small
I
reduction.
figured that's what it was.
And I will get to the
I
budget
actually
part of
forgot
this.
about 3%.
Yeah, I will get to the budget part of this, but the budget is causing me a lot of anxiety and grief because I have a serious increase in grant funding. And so it's like trying,
Which requires grant match.
well, it does, it's a $66,000 match or whatever, but I'm trying to figure out how to do the reduction, but still have all that money in the pot. It's hard. So it's just
hard.
causing me grief.
It's hard for everybody.
We'll figure it out. There will be a reduction and I have reduced a great amount. It's just that it doesn't look like it's the 3% that's being requested from 2019 just because of the increase in funding.
I think that's one of the reasons why our budget is where it is the increase in grants, housing increase in grant match throughout the county. And that doesn't, that adds to.
Right, but in the answer to that, like I have figured out how to I've reduced a lot of things in order to actually reduce more than the 66K so that I can match it. It's just that it looks wonky, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm working on it. So while I'm waiting to hire for this position, litter is still getting taken care of, or at least the complaints dealing with litter. Those are being taken care of. It's the adult and juvenile probation crews that are on hold until I get that position filled. So on the recycling program, there's a lot there because I haven't really met with you guys for a couple of months. We did get 2 interns this year, which was amazing. And they got tasked with social media and the float that we had in the parade. So the float was an absolute success. It got the 2nd place motorized float category. So it was like, woohoo, even though there was only 3 of us in the parade. It was actually a pretty good parade. I liked it. I had fun. So I'm really looking forward to being able to do that again next year and to be able to add to the float that we have now. So our booth at the fair received 150 kid survey responses. Kiwanis actually got like 100 more coupons than they've ever gotten before. So having them like right next door to us, like we were here and they were here, I think was probably, we might want to switch it up next year so they're not so close. Yeah, but it was good. The adult surveys, we had 75 responses and all of those responses right now are being analyzed so that we can actually use that to narrow down some of our outreach and education. With that, the contamination tagging from Republic Services has been working out pretty good. Contamination has reduced somewhat, but we're still seeing the main 3 items of clamshells, pizza boxes, and glass. So we're working on trying to get those reduced. There weren't any signups for our trash audit and litter scavenger hunt. And for our recycling art contest that we put together at the beginning of the summer, we're thinking that
you know, with everything that's going on these days, that probably had a major impact on it. So we are going to revisit doing the recycling art contest in the fall, which I think is what we did last year. And that was actually pretty successful, but not knowing how things are going to turn out with this variant, it's hard to say exactly how things are going to turn out once they get back into class. So community days on July 10th was an absolute success as well. We focused on secured loads and we handed out approximately 100 cargo nets. We still have some left, so if people really want to, you know, secure their loads, they're encouraged to come by and ask for one. Next year, we're hoping to include the float and the community day parade, so we could have like two floats, or you know, 2 parades, 1 float. 1 year, I'm like, woo, this is so much fun. And then we have our waste disposal search tool online. So far in the last 3 months since it's gone live, we've had 550 searches. The top 5 items were clamshell containers, glass, batteries, tires, and paint. Our waste sorting game, which we call dumpster diving, also has had 125 players since going live. However,
What is that?
our dumpster diving, it's a game that they can play where they go in and, you know, they're given this item and they have to decide, okay, well, does it go to the transfer station, curbside, or, you know, just to the transfer station, or does it get recycled, or, you know, has MRW, like it gives you, it's a game, and
It's Candy Crush, but it's about
Yeah.
trash. not
well,
trash.
kind of
Okay.
Candy Crush. is-
What's an educational?
It is very, yeah, it's educational, and, but it's garnering quite a few plays and stuff. So you get to, you get to get a dumpster diving certificate. Let's play. So.
I'll have to play that. For the match.
Yeah. So, the. Where's the dumpster diving?
Please play right now.
I think it's on solid waste on the
Website.
On the website, yeah, on our webpage. You'll have to go to,
Oh, there's the wizard game.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
No.
oh, so now he's gonna be playing dumpster diving.
We're all gonna be
Very
the high
quick
score.
Yeah.
What do I do?
We put our initials on there.
Send it to the
Dumpster
schools,
diving
let the
Nemo.
schools-
Huh?
Send it to the schools and let them, let the kids do it.
Well, hopefully if school gets back up and running, we'll be able to actually work on getting our school programs back up and into the classroom, so.
I'd say you must have a good enough outreach that way when it comes to the surveys with 150 kids and 75 adults, you're definitely reaching the kids. So if you reach the kids, they'll eventually turn into adults, so.
Yep. Yeah, snow cones. What do you do with the wrapper? So, unfortunately, the phone apps have not been approved yet.
Is this a, I was waiting for you to get to this one. Is this a cybersecurity issue with our IT department?
No,
IT
This is
has
an
no
issue.
problem with these things?
this is an issue with one little sentence in the whole big old thing of.
Okay, so it's a legal thing and not a
Yes.
cybersecurity issue.
So the PA's office is waiting for Apple to get back to us, and of course, Apple is, they're never going to get back to us, and so there's this. It's a stalemate, so we're kind of paying for a portion of this programming that we cannot use right at the moment because of it. So we're just waiting. Yeah, we will have a booth at the upcoming back to school bash, as long as we still have it. And it's going to be held at the Goldendale Community Pool next Monday, August 30th. And we also have been working on a river cleanup in tandem with the river cruise folks. I'm thinking that that'll be held on the second week of September, or the third week of September. Since I have that date hardlined, I will let you guys know. But they are expecting about 50 volunteers to raft down the little Klickitat and rescue a whole bunch of litter and stuff. So, and along the shoreline. So how we're going to help out is they're going to put that up there on the highway so that we can just come by and pick it up. Yeah, so we're really excited about that. And last but not least, Michelle co-hosted a food scratch class with the Washington State Recycling Association, which was free for all to attend and is posted on the WSRA YouTube channel, and it will be included in our next monthly newsletter. With Republic Services, I had a quarterly update with the different business units a couple of weeks ago, and of course we had the quarterly fee update last week, so there's not really a whole lot to say there. Hauling has had some hiccups and increased routes and old trucks. They have finally employed enough drivers. However, they are now experiencing shortages due to medical reasons and broken down trucks. So I am meeting with that BU today to find out, like how things are going to run and how things are going to improve because of those reasons. But I will get back with you as soon as I know something. And also,
have they had any improvement in the availability of the large, for like construction demolition?
so they have 6 on order. I'll have an answer to that one as well, when those are actually going to arrive. They weren't able to give me a hard date last time that we met, but I think because of everything that they're seeing, I think it's probably going to get pushed up a little bit quicker, but
Do they have a
They can only do
shortage
what
of
they can
those
do.
Yeah,
available
you
to the
can,
public?
it's
Yeah,
been
it's
super
horrible.
frustrating
Yeah.
for people that they can't, where they're months,
Yeah.
literally months out.
That makes
Yep.
no sense.
No, and it's like,
Well,
what do you mean?
I mean,
I-
they're-
Other than the
This is
fact that
growth.
they don't make a lot of money from our county.
well, but they
They're busy. I
they
mean,
do
they're-
make, they do
but
make it
there's
from the
just a lot of
commercials.
activity going.
Yeah, from the commercial, they do make money off of that, but they've never seen we've never seen this kind of growth within our county before. So this was unanticipated. Like I said, they
But
have
they
6
need to
on
bring more
order.
resources online because you
Yeah.
should not have to schedule 2 months out
Right.
to get a dump.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
so I mean, we're all trying to figure out how to meet the needs that we're seeing. It's just it wasn't anticipated. So, and you just
Well, I'm
can't,
glad
like,
they're-
you just
they're
can't
trying
go
to-
to Amazon and order
do
order one of
40
those
yard,
things and
yeah,
have it delivered in a
container.
week. Yeah, it takes a long time just to get any kind of stuff shipped over. I mean, it's got to go through so many. You think the government here is slow?
Well, I'm aware. I've been waiting for both seats for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I'll try and get some hard dates and stuff for you today. And then, of course, with everything else going on, the landfill is experiencing a lot of employee shortages due to medical reasons or being out on quarantine. The last number that I had was 20, and I'm sure it's increased since then because it's been 24 hours. So we'll see. And then to the budget, I'm just gonna make that really quick and easy. The tonnage is up, as was mentioned in the early update. If this continues, when I looked at 2019 compared to 2021, if it continues on this trend, we will be able to finish out pretty good at the end of the year. I mean, I think we're 3,000 tons less than 2019 right now. And we're 1 million tons less. Well, we have 1 million tons to go to meet the 2019 mark at the end of the year. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to meet that pretty well. We're gonna do.
The thing
I have no idea how this
concerned
is.
is with their
the very-
staffing issues.
Yeah.
Because as they said, things are, things are still coming.
Yeah.
They're just beginning to get a
Yeah,
backlog,
they're getting
Yeah.
a backlog.
which is money in the bank, so to
Right.
speak. But,
So long
Right.
as your backlog isn't full.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is
I mean,
only so many containers, as we well know. And they have to be able to.
and not
turn
knowing how
those.
this variant is going to, change the world over the next 4 months or so. It's hard to say where we're going to be. And then of course, what we already talked about, the budget, my budget. Trying to figure out how to make that all marry up. I have decreased in a lot of areas and I've decreased significantly. But because of the
Like about
programming and
3%.
because of the funding, actually, I think I've decreased by, I don't want to like pigeonhole myself, but I've decreased at least close to 15, 20 grand. So.
So what happens when you let somebody go for a couple of months?
That's the easy way out.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm still trying to figure out, like where I can put some stuff and take some stuff out and, move stuff around. So last biennium, our grant funding was like 167. And this biennium, it's 265. I mean, we were able to get a really big increase in the funding that the governor put in our budget. So, or put in his budget. It was a long time coming, and they were actually going to give us that increase right before COVID hit, but because of that, everything got swept. So.
Questions or comments for
Not here.
solid waste director?
Oh, I did have one more thing, because I just got the notification. I'm on the advisory board for the Plastic Packaging Stakeholder Advisory Committee, which they call SAC. I am going to have, I'm gonna request that they actually get a different acronym, but that starts at the end of this month, and I think we've got like, I want to say at least a dozen meetings before the end of this year. So it's hitting hard and heavy because there was legislation dealing with post-consumer materials going into the packaging, and plastic packaging is one of those major ones. So we're kind of tasked with trying to figure out exactly how that goes and how much of that post-consumer material should be going into packaging from start to finish. So
If Washington State does a plastic bag ban, does that affect us on a county or landfill level at all?
well, they did pass the big ban. We're doing some outreach with the stores to find out where they sit with going through the plastic bags that they have. They have a period of time to balance out or to get rid of their stock of plastic bags before they start utilizing other means of, bagging. But here pretty soon, it's gonna hit hard and heavy because they have put an online system in play where people can complain, where they can,
File complaints
Yeah.
that somebody's not obeying.
Yeah.
And you get those, or does that go to the state and then the retailer?
Well, it goes to the state, and then they deal with the issues. It's not really something. for us to
That
deal
was
with.
kind of my thing,
Yeah,
is I
yeah.
want to make sure
No,
this
we're
wasn't
not
adding
doing-
on your plate.
No, that's on their plate, but it does.
And did the Washington law allow the money that's created, the 5 cents per bag, that goes to the business, right?
I'm not quite sure how that all works.
Okay.
I know there was a lot discussed regarding that particular issue. It seems to me that the resolution was kind of a wash, but I know when I spoke with the White Salmon City Council here last week, I did ask the mayor, if she could kind of like, I don't know, let us know what their insight is, because they put in a big ban here a while back. So to be able to see what those caveats are now that we're kind of getting back to a new normal would be pretty useful. I know that because of COVID, the big ban and everything else, the single-use plastics, everything else, it was extended,
Right.
and that extension is now coming to a close.
What would be nice is if we can actually cut down trees and use paper bags.
Or people just not use a bag for 3 or 4 items, or I don't know, use their own.
I would be happy to see all plastic bags, even the reusable, recyclable, whatever they want to call them, gone.
Yeah, it's, yeah, I'm starting a war on plastics. I'm just letting everybody know that if you haven't figured it out already.
Thank you.
All right.
Nope. Nope. All right. Thank you, Ms. Ruby.
See you guys later.
See you later. Running way ahead of schedule.
Yes, we are.
Good.
Oh, boy, it's morning today.
Yeah,
Should we go into our,
yeah, let's go into our lives. Actually, I have some errands to
Do
run.
we want to have a discussion or no?
Well, I think that is, that's, I'm fine with that. I guess I will, when we reconvene at 1 o'clock, and if it becomes an issue,
Yep, I agree with that. Then
then
we're worried about it.
then we will worry about it. And I suppose my understanding would be if as far as a point of order, as far as for citizen participation, it would be the chair's rule unless overruled by 2/3 majority of the board, obviously. And I guess, but I would hope we were all on the same page, but
You're just talking about a point of order, not a adjournment.
well, that would be, well, I guess, okay, I'm just gonna lay out a scenario. Hypothetically speaking, somebody comes to participate in the public meeting and there are rules about things. And if the chair would inform that person that these are the rules and would give them an opportunity to comply. If they did not comply, then they would be asked to leave. If they did not, then the board would have to make a decision as to what
We choose to do.
what we choose to do at that point. I'm really hopeful that that's not going to be an issue. It makes it difficult to do the business of
Do
the
the
county
people's work.
if we're being used as a political distraction. So
sounds fun.
sounds fun. So with that, I think we will adjourn and we will be back at 1 o'clock for our regular business meeting.
Being as it is 1 o'clock, we will call the regular business meeting to order of the County Commissioners, 1 p.m. on 8/24/2021. Let the record show Commissioners Christopher and Anderson are present in chambers and Commissioner Sauter is on his way. He is stuck in the road construction. We will move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I do have this open. Is this blinding anybody with this open?
Okay, we will move on to the approval of the business agenda.
Mr. Chairman, to make a motion, we approve the business agenda with one add-on to 210 discussion regarding VR&R rental rates and replacement dates. Senior services update has been rescheduled for August 31st, 2021.
I will step down and second the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approval of commissioner meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve commissioner meeting minutes for August 17th, 2021 as presented.
I will step down and second the motion. Any
Mr. Vice,
discussion?
I apologize. I believe that she also put on the 10th, and I didn't know if you guys had reviewed that. It's not on the blue card.
I did, but I remember these guys had them last week, so I don't know if they did this week.
We have a second, make sure I already did that. It will be in the file if I did. Yes, I did. So I'm ready if you want to do it without Mr. Sauter here.
You can add it to it.
Mr. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend my motion to add August 10th, 2021 as presented as well.
I will step down and second the motion. All those, any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We will move into citizen comment. Citizen comment will be limited to 3 minutes today per individual. We will go back and forth between in the room and in on the Zoom. We will begin in the room. If there's anybody who would like to make a comment, please raise your hand. And if you would come up a little closer to the mic and tell us who you are if you'd like and where you're from, and we'd love to hear from you. Yes.
Is this where you want me to?
Yep.
You could stand, so
You can
whatever you
stand.
want to do.
Susan Kelsey, living in Golden Dale, City Limits. I'm here to speak about the state mandate that has come down to get injections of the mRNA injection. I adamantly oppose this. I don't think it will stop there. I know that the next thing it'll be for the county employees. And so I urge you to stand the ground against this tyranny. Thank you.
Okay, next up, anyone on Zoom, *6 to unmute yourself, or you can just unmute if you're on Zoom. And we will look to hear, to see from you. Sherry Bosque.
Good afternoon, commissioners. I'm calling in regards, or I'm speaking my citizen comment in regards to the hearings examiner. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're good now. We're just turning up our volume a little bit. Keep going.
Okay, so the hearings examiner's decision to affirm that the SEPA was fine for under canvas. I'm speaking about under canvas to clarify. And I would like to know, since this hearing result has been delivered and the citizens have 24 days to appeal this with the Superior Court, when and if the citizens decide to appeal this decision of the hearings examiner, will the citizens be up against Klickitat County in Superior Court, or will the citizens be up against under canvas in Superior Court?
I don't know that they've been against the citizens or the county at large in any part of this. I don't believe the county at large will be taking place or any part of the litigation. So I don't know how the county at large would play a role in this, because it would be the citizens against under canvas before a judge.
So to clarify, because originally the citizens had appealed Klickitat County's SEPA decision. And so that was, as we heard, affirmed. And so now when we go to Superior Court, the county will be completely out of this decision. It'll just be the citizens against under canvas at Superior Court.
That's all it was at the hearings examiner as well. All the county employees were at the hearings examiner were witnesses.
I understand that. Yeah, I mean, and that I'm going to say was really confusing to me as a citizen, because as a citizen, I appealed the county's SEPA decision. I didn't feel that I was, going up against under canvas. I felt I was going up against the decision that our county had made. And that being said, I guess I am confused as a citizen that why I continue to fight against a large corporation when I actually am appealing my county's decision. So what I heard you say is that when we take this to Superior Court, the county will be completely out of this court situation, and it will be the citizens against under canvas. Is that correct?
For clarification of my statement, what I believe is our prosecutor will not be involved in the legal dispute. It will be the citizens versus under canvas unless any county employees are called to as witnesses before the judge.
Sherry, this is Commissioner Anderson. The best person to talk to about this would be if you would call Prosecutor Cannell to get clarification. The county commissioners have not been involved in this, so cannot give the direct answer to that question.
I was gonna say, that is just my best guess. That's why I'm not.
Okay. Moving back to
Excuse me, my computer rebooted. I got kicked off and put back on, so I did not hear any of your answer at all. I apologize. Computer fail.
Sherry, what I said is the appropriate thing to do would be to call the prosecuting attorney's office and talk to Prosecutor Cannell to get an actual legal, since you're asking about a legal decision on whether the county will be involved or not. That is not within the purview of the Board of County Commissioners currently. So that would be the appropriate person to talk to.
Okay, when I've contacted the PA before, I was told that he works for the county, not for the citizens. So I don't know if he'll be able to give me that answer. So I might be back next week asking for more answers.
Okay.
Thanks.
Back in chambers, anybody else would like to give public comment?
I do.
Come forward, sir, please.
I'm John Cuskey, and I'm representing the American Legion this afternoon. We'd like the county to do a proclamation for our 9/11. The Legion is sponsoring a 9/11 dinner for first responders and spouses. It's free to those individuals. $20 an individual for anybody that would like to come and make a support.
When's that gonna be, sir?
9/11.
It will actually be on
9/11.
Okay.
I was just saying, it's not gonna be 9/13 or something.
It's actually a Saturday night.
Unfortunately, this year it is on a Saturday.
You're not going to Yakima and supporting the Republicans?
No, I was, meaning today or?
No,
meeting?
9/11.
Oh,
I didn't know about that.
I didn't know about it. so.
Oh, okay, good.
I will unfortunately be out of town. I appreciate the offer to
Yeah.
speak there,
Well, I'm looking for
but-
somebody to make comments. Speak.
but I'm all for making a proclamation.
We've got a happy hour that starts at 3 and goes to 4. And then at 4 o'clock, we're trying to get awards and a couple of speeches thanking the individuals for the time they spent doing this.
Okay. All right.
I don't know about my agenda.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you
We'll-
would-
we'll-
If you wouldn't mind sending me an email, or give me a phone call, and then we can talk a little bit more about
Whatever you
Okay.
have to do it.
Yes.
John, do you have a draft proclamation with your reading that you would like available?
Oh, what?
A draft proclamation of what you want said. Do you have a draft?
Well, I just want to announce it. It's 9/11 dinner at the Legion.
Oh, okay, so it's not a proclamation, it's an
It's a
invitation.
proclamation,
Okay.
but
Thank you.
you need to recognize the day as,
Okay.
and that's the event going on. It's really simple.
Okay.
Hopefully we can, we can do a little internet.
sure we can do
research.
something.
I
I'd
was
like to know
wondering
where the
what,
proclamation-
that was, Nancy and I had that discussion last night. What's a proclamation involved?
We can get it handled.
Yeah. And I guess it's just the county supports 9/11 and this is an event going on.
Okay. We'll see what we can, I'm sure we can do something.
We got 2 weeks because we can do it on the 7th, on September 7th.
Anybody like to volunteer to make a speech, 3 to 5 minutes long?
it. So that's why I said, send me an email and we can chat a little bit about it.
Okay, if I got your email address.
I'll get it for you.
All right.
Would you like to be the chairman again, Chairman?
Okay. Yes, I want to.
From your road experience?
Yes, my road, yes.
Thank you.
I apologize to my seatmates and folks as far as WashDOT was.
Did you come bearing gifts?
I did, actually. I did. You would think 35 minutes was long enough to go for 8 miles, but it was not.
I forgot about the entrance truck.
It only took 15 minutes to go and 42 minutes to come back, so not good. So we are still in citizen comment. I will go back on the Zoom
Lisa
call.
Evans has her hand up.
Okay, Lisa Evans, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, County Commissioners. My name's Lisa Evans. I live in White Salmon. I just want to say we did have an excellent rally last week with a lot of parents from different school districts just stating that they wanted to allow unmasking their kids for the school year, and that parents be allowed to ask for medical freedom and to be able to make medical choices for their children. Everyone was well behaved and was well attended. But, you know, I was at the rally in White Salmon, and there were two people that were across the street, and one woman was holding a sign that said mask it or casket. And I looked at that sign for a long time, and I thought, well, that's a little bit morbid. And then it finally hit me. That's it. It's a lie, right? Mask it or casket. That's not true. It's not true at all. And in fact, I do appreciate that Klickitat County, on your COVID-19 case counts, you actually include the numbers for recovered cases for our county. And if you extrapolate out the active cases currently, we are at a 98.9% recovery rate, which is completely consistent with the rest of the United States. And I think that's fantastic. I think it's a clear indicator that as a county, we're healthy, that our healthcare workers are doing what they need to do. And so essentially, I think I look at this and I think, well, the emperor has no clothes. I will state it out there because nobody else seems to be saying that COVID is not a major danger to us. So I just, like I said, I wanted to point out that I appreciate that the recovery rate is so positive. And I just did want state my so that if we're at a 98.9% recovery rate, you guys are being put in a really tough position on all these vaccine mandates and mask mandates. So I would just request that, as these things come down from the governor, that you focus on that recovery rate, keep that at the forefront of your mind, because you can see all the disruptions that we have. We're losing people at the schools. We're losing, we're going to lose people in the government offices. We're going to lose people in the medical field, and everyone's already stretched tight. And the big question I would just ask for you to keep in the back of your mind is this really worth it? With a 98.9% recovery rate, is this really worth it? And, I think if any of you were able to attend the rodeo over the weekend and saw some of those kids getting dragged around, I think we can say that the people of Klickitat County are pretty darn resilient. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, timed right on. Okay, we are still in citizen comment. I'll go back to chambers if there's anybody in chambers that wishes to provide comment.
I come to listen.
Okay.
Greg Wagner, Goldendale,
Will you continue doing the talking?
member of CEAS, citizens educated about solar energy. You held your town hall meeting in Glenwood. And over the years, you've defended the Glenwood citizens about the Tract D issue, land issue. You use taxpayer money to defend those citizens. And we've lost each time. And now it appears you'll probably do it again. We had the under canvas issue, a land use issue. You didn't defend those citizens. And now we have the future solar issue. And you don't even want to write ordinances or defend us citizens whose lives are going to be greatly impacted by that. And I don't understand why. The Glenwood citizens can get representation and the rest of us aren't. Is there a reason for that? You've done it multiple times to defend the citizens of Glenwood. And as far as the solar, all we want is ordinances. I've heard all of you say we should have ordinances. I went back and listened to the recorded meetings of since January 1, you've all said that. So why is it so difficult for you to sit down with the citizens, hammer out the ordinances, create the solar EOZ, and get it done? What's stopping it? Once you said you had to open up the EOZ again, costs money. You did it in 2010. We really don't want to amend that EOZ because that won't cover the entire county. Because now solar is outside the permitted EOZ area because we'll use this conditional use permit. So that can be put anywhere. So there needs to be ordinances that protect all the citizens in our county. When you defend one group in Glenwood, you should defend everybody. If you're going to be fair, as you say you are. Why can't you do that? Since you rescinded a moratorium, there's been no discussion about solar. You directed the planning director and McClure to create guidelines, gave them a directive. They haven't done anything. And even guidelines, as your prosecuting attorney told you twice, they are useless. You either have to have ordinances, laws that he can enforce. That's why you have the ordinances on the books currently, so you can enforce ordinances. All across our county, you have ordinances for everything. But we have an abatement of ordinances right now, no compliance officer. Title 15 and 16 are off the books. That all has to do with codes. Why don't we put this back on the books, get the job done, and get ordinances written for all of us in the county? My home is not in the protected area. I'm going to be a future victim of this. I know my 3 minutes are up. Is there going to be additional time later in the meeting?
If anybody new needs to speak and doesn't have time during the half an hour, I would assume as that is what we've done in the past.
Now it has to be new people. Okay.
Okay,
Lynn Ward has unmuted herself.
okay. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to clarify Title 15 and 16 are enforced. Those are adopted by my department and are separate from the code enforcement that's being reworked. I just want to clarify that.
For the public.
For the public.
To the public.
Yeah, we already know that. Thank you, Lee.
Lynn, yeah. Okay, we are still in citizen comment. If there is, I'm going online, if there's somebody in Zoom or on their phone, unmute yourself, raise your hand, get our attention. This is your opportunity. Not seeing anybody. We have a lot of screens. Okay, so I'm going to use a little of that time, and if there is anybody, please get our attention. I'll respond.
I'll keep an eye on the screen.
Okay, you watch the screen. As to Glenn, and I did see you at the Glenwood Town Hall. I saw you there, so I know you know of what you speak. It was as to the issue you raised. Glenwood is not. It's a different issue than. Yeah, go ahead and come up so you can hear me. I mean, I guess first off, I would say the Glenwood issue goes back decades and decades. That issue has been percolating and through the, it's only recently been in the courts. As far as your characterization of that, that we are defending the people in Glenwood, and why won't we defend anybody else, either with solar ordinances or, the example as under canvas as well. That's a matter of opinion. As far as there are folks in Glenwood, they are a minority, but there have been people that don't think we're defending, that the actions that we've taken are not actually defending, that we shouldn't have even done any of that. There are also people, as far as the solar issue and under canvas, there are folks on both sides of this issue. I know you are very passionate about your specific point of view. It is not the only point of view. I have heard from multiple citizens. I am trying to hear that. There are folks that are advocating for us to do exactly what we've done so far. And it's not some unified point of view. It is always our job to try to, it's not just necessarily do what you, Mr. Wagner, tell me to do. That doesn't mean I'm not doing what the citizens want me to do. It's my job to try to take what I'm hearing from everybody and use my own judgment to do what I think is in the best interest of all the citizens of the county. Your opportunity I get to have an evaluation on that every 4 years. And if I am not doing it the way the majority of people don't agree that I'm using my judgment appropriately, I'm not here anymore. That's assuming I chose to run, each time. But ultimately, the voters have their choice. And that's where the check-in is. And so I feel like I am trying to balance out all the interests of all the citizens across, and we just have a difference of opinion when it comes to how.
That's true. But when we had our May 4th public hearing, the majority of the people that were there and spoke were in favor of extending the moratorium and creating solar ordinances. So if you do what the majority of the people want, those people were the majority at that time spoke, and they wanted that, and you didn't do that.
Right. But
so you say you're trying to do what the majority wants, but you say that, but your actions are different when it came to the solar moratorium and writing ordinances. That's why people question, we don't understand what you're trying to do. You tell us all this, but then your actions are contrary to what your words are. When you agree, the majority of the people at the solar moratorium said they wanted to extend the moratorium and create ordinances. Dana Peck stood right here and said it. There was many people that said that. There were people that opposed, but the majority of them wanted to extend the moratorium and create ordinances. And if you say you're willing to do what the majority wants you to do, that's not what's happening. Ordinances is not trying to stop them. We don't think we'll ever stop solar. We just don't want them surrounding our house and everybody else's house and destroying people's lives. I've heard all of you say contrary things to solar. Keep it in the tumbleweeds. I don't want to drive by it every day. Look like a prison when you drive into town. I hear you say, let me make this clear. I am in favor of wind and solar. I support solar. Oh, I don't want to do anything to slow down solar company plans. You said that after you rescinded the moratorium. It's not being impartial and being fair to everybody when you make these opinions, these statements that show you're a bias towards solar. Now, those are your words. I'm not twisting them, Mr. Sauter. No. It's on the county's website recordings. Mr. Anderson has said, CEAS has brought a lot of good information to us. We ought to have a CEAS member on the solar committee. I've even heard him say we ought to have ordinances. So why are you guys so against the citizens to simply write us some ordinances and get them implemented and enacted? Because your own county policy says, even if they go to FSEC, they have to comply with local regulations.
I'm going to stop you for just a second.
Sure.
Because we are still in citizen comment. I want to give other citizens, because we did have somebody come
I would
in.
like to clarify with the Glenwood that I would say that we're not defending the citizens of Glenwood. We are defending the county because the county is the one that's being sued. So we are defending the county at large. That's my understanding.
Well, if you say that, then the citizens' comment don't matter. You're just defending the county. You really don't need to hear what they say. I don't know. It's just.
We are still in citizen comment. You're new to the room.
I am.
Did you wish to make citizen comment?
I did, but you guys said it's at 1:30, so.
No, it's between 1 and 1:30.
Oh, it doesn't say that on the website.
Oh.
So, hi.
All right, go ahead. If I can have your name, if you want, and what
Sure.
community you're from.
I am Lynn Kadlec, Kadlec. I live in Dellsport. This time I've lived there for 21 years. And my comments are, we've heard a rumor, well, this is Park and Rec District 2 issues.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't
Oh,
remember,
I see.
okay,
Okay, I'm gonna stop you now.
okay,
Because we do actually have a hearing
Okay.
later, and if you're speaking about that, that's at that hearing.
okay.
This
good.
would be any other general,
Citizen comment about dogs barking or solar panels and things like that.
Okay, I will wait.
you will defer. Okay,
I will.
so I'm gonna give just a minute before we continue. I'll give, you're not seeing anybody raising their hand, so let's continue.
Not a
Wait.
new person anyway.
Is there anybody who has not spoken? You have the last say for 3 minutes during citizen comment who would like to speak. On Zoom or in the room.
Not seeing anybody.
If nobody else is going to use this 3 minutes, I have a question regarding the Glenwood situation for clarification.
Go ahead.
So it was my understanding that if the county moves forward, this will be the county now bringing another suit against the nation. This is not Yakima Nation bringing a suit against the county. Is that correct?
It would be just for, again, the prosecutor would be better. The decision that's before the county is whether we want to appeal the ruling that was issued by the Ninth Circuit of the suit that the tribe brought to the US Supreme Court. So we're not launching a new suit. It would just be, are we appealing the original suit, which the Yakima Nation did bring against the county? We're petitioning the US Supreme Court to review it. And they have discretion if they will review it or not. And so that's the decision that the board has to make, because we are under a time frame right now. Go
For
ahead.
clarification, I believe you had it backwards. The county did not sue the Yakima Nation about this. This is the Yakima Nation suing the county, and it is up to the county on when we want to quit defending ourselves against that suit.
Right.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to clarify that. So the county is now deciding whether they're going to appeal the decision. And in that.
Correct, before a judge, or a lot of judges.
9 judges.
We had 17211 that was.
With the Dell Elder, I think. Dell Elder.
Okay,
We're still.
Yeah, 15.
you got a minute left.
Hello, this is
Yeah.
Debbie Wagner with Seeds.
Go ahead.
I evidently pushed the wrong button. Sorry about that. I was just have a question approximately 4 weeks ago, and correct me if I'm wrong. I called in and I wanted to know if you would please consider ordinances for solar. I haven't heard anything from any of the commissioners. I was just wondering if you had time to look into that. I'm very concerned. I'm very upset. I spent 50 hours this week looking over all citizens' comments, workshops, everything. It was a real eye-opener, commissioners. Maybe that's something that you ought to take some time and do also. But the biggest thing is, I was just wanting to know if you have an answer for me from 4 weeks ago. That is all. Thank you for your time.
You.
Denise is unmuted, but I'm assuming that's the 1:30.
Okay. Okay, we are now out of citizen comment. Go ahead.
He wanted to respond there. Didn't you say you wanted to respond, but you were gonna wait?
No, that's what I was saying with the Glenwood suing us.
Oh, that was
not
his.
suing that.
Oh, I thought
We're
that was
not
the
defending the
response.
citizens, we're defending the county in a legal lawsuit.
Okay, that brings us to 1:30, a time we set aside for public hearings, public meetings, and bid openings. We have quite a bit of work to do. First is a public meeting to consider final approval of boundary line adjustment BLA 2021-06. This is in the Houston vicinity. Applicants are Paul Ramars and Curtis Cabrillo. I'm assuming Denise.
I am. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
this-
We'll have a brief staff update.
Okay, this is Denise in the planning department. BLA 2021-06 is a proposal to adjust the common property line between parcel 2 of survey, etc. Let me look at my parcel numbers here. Tax parcel number 0411170000000400 and parcel number 04111709240400. In the Houston vicinity, the administrative review of this boundary line adjustment has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from the Road Health Planning and Treasurer's Office. All conditions attached to preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds it's in the public's interest to approve this boundary line adjustment, a motion will be needed to grant final approval of BLA 2021-06 applicants Paul Reimars and Curtis Cabriel.
Thank you for the staff report. This is a public meeting, but I will allow, if there's anybody that wishes to provide testimony one way or the other on this, it's your opportunity. Hearing none, are there any questions from the board? Comments? If not.
On this one, I do not.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve boundary line adjustment BLA 2021-06 parcel number 04-11-1700-004/00 and 04-11-1709-2404/00 in section 17 Township 4 North, range 11 east of the West Meridian in the Houston vicinity with the applicants of Paul Reimars and Curtis Cabriel.
A second.
I will second.
A motion and a second to grant approval to boundary line adjustment 2021-06. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, we will do that. Next order of business is a public meeting to consider approval of boundary line adjustment 2021-08.
Okay,
Go ahead. You can read all the parcel numbers.
sure. I was planning on it. Okay, BLA 2021-08 is a proposal to adjust the common property line between parcels 05-15-2607, 4601-00 and 05-15-2654-0000100 in the Goldendale vicinity, off of Knight Road, Gosney Loop. Applicants Jim Farrell and Randy Dykes. The administrative review of this boundary line adjustment has been completed. Signatures have been obtained from the Road Health and Planning Departments and the Treasurer's Office. All conditions attached to preliminary approval have been met. If the board finds it's in the public's interest to approve this boundary line adjustment, a motion will be needed to grant final approval of BLA 2021-08 applicants Jim Farrer and Randy Dykes.
Thank you. I'll now open the public meeting for comment. Anyone wishing to speak on this boundary line adjustment? Hearing none, I'll go to my seatmates. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I do. And I'm actually kind of appreciative I have the big map in front of me. It's easier than the little map. It looks like we're changing the lot size in this one down from essentially a 20-acre parcel down to a 10-acre parcel. Does that comply with our current zoning regulations up there is the question?
It does. It's general rural zone, 5-acre minimum.
Okay, good answer. Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
We'll check for myself.
Good. Okay, there's nothing else. I would entertain a motion.
Walking. Let me get the good one. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve boundary line adjustment BLA 2021-08 parcel number 05-15-2607-4601/00 and parcel number 05-15-2654-0001/00 in section 26 township and the rest of that. Jim Ferry and Randy Dykes.
I will second the.
Long-winded.
Yeah. I have a motion and a second to approve boundary line adjustment 2021-08. Applicants Jim Farrer and Randy Dykes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks Denise, we have your Mylars. So,
Give that one back.
It should be there somewhere. I can take it back.
Okay, our next order of business is a public hearing to receive public testimony for or against the proposed establishment of a county road known as Park Place as part of the county road system. All that portion of Park Place in Wishram beginning at the intersection of Railroad Avenue, also known as the southwest corner of Lot 1, Block F, plat of Fall Bridge, and thence westerly for 0.19 miles to terminate at the intersection of Main Street in Wishram. We will start with I'll open the public hearing for that purpose, and I will start with a brief staff report.
All right, so as required by RCW, I have prepared a report as the county engineer to talk about my views of the issue. So we were approached by the PUD for an easement within county right of way, and when we investigated, we discovered that we had right of way but never established a road. And so after going back and looking at our records, a portion of the public road now known as Park Place has been maintained by the county for more than 35 years. And on December 27, 2000, a 40-foot wide right-of-way was granted by quitclaim deed for Park Place beginning at the intersection of Railroad Avenue and extending about 0.13 of a mile westerly. In addition, a portion needed to connect the park, the last piece to Park Place to Main Street to the west is located. It's actually the park that we have, the railroad park down there. So that cuts through the county's property there and connects that piece. So it makes a link from railroad to Main Street, but was never established as a county road. So in view of the findings that I've just discussed, I recommend that all of Park Place beginning at Railroad Avenue and ending 0.19 miles at the intersection of Main Street be established as a county road and updated in the county road system. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. I will now open the public hearing for the purpose of receiving public comment or testimony regarding the proposed establishment. It could be for or against or neutral for that matter. Is there anybody wishing to provide testimony on this issue? And that would be both in the room or on Zoom. Not seeing anybody in the room. If there's anybody online and Zoom or on the phone, if you unmute yourself. No, I'm not seeing anything. Okay. Okay. If there is no more, I will now close the public hearing to further public testimony, discussion or clarification by the board. This is just housekeeping. Yes, go ahead.
Just for my own clarification, so if we adopt this, we're putting the road into a county road, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go pave the thing. They would need to petition to get it on a 6-year road plan.
That's correct.
I guess I will say, usually, I'm not in favor of adding to our road miles. We have lots of roads as it is. The fact that we've been taking care of this for the last umpteen years, out of the goodness of our hearts, I guess. And this is a housekeeping, I have no problem with it.
I would agree with that.
Okay. And I am ready for motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to add the portion of Park Place to the county road system in Wishram, beginning at the intersection of Railroad Avenue, also known as the southwest corner of Lot 1, Block F, plat of Fall Bridge, and then hence westerly for 0.19 miles to terminate at the intersection of Main Street in Wishram.
Second that motion.
A motion and a second to add the entire 0.19 miles of Park Place to the county road system. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. And that's That's that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll get that to you. Okay, now, our final piece of business in this section of the agenda is a public hearing to determine whether Klickitat County Park and Recreation District Number 2 meets the criteria required for dissolution pursuant to RCW 36.96.010 and to allow all interested persons an opportunity to appear and be heard. I will now open the public hearing for the purpose stated. We typically, I don't know if we are going to have a staff.
Well, I do have the staff report included. I just passed out, this was an email that came into your email, Commissioner Sauter.
Okay.
I believe it was from Lynn. And I have passed that out to you and had explained about the different requirements and that the district has not been active and it does meet the criteria for disillusionment. Do you have any questions?
We'll have an opportunity for that.
I mean,
later.
as far as staff.
No, I'm familiar. Okay, then I will open this public hearing up for public testimony. I think we have one.
Me. I don't know where my compatriots are, but I'm here.
Okay,
I have a question. So if it's a 7-year area that nothing's happened with Park and Rec, did we as citizens vote on establishing Park and Rec or did you? Okay, so what happened to it? I never saw anything about forming a board. Wouldn't it have to be a tax district?
so, and I'll give a little brief history
Okay.
from, so the Parks and Rec District, the question was put before the voters in 2000,
10 maybe?
it was in 2010.
Okay,
Yes, it was in 2010. And so they, they got whatever signatures they needed to put it before it came to the Board of Commissioners. The Board of Commissioners had made the determination the question would be forwarded on to the voters. So the voters, the issue that happened was that the ballot question, there was actually 2 questions. Question 1 was, should a Parks and Rec district be formed? Yes or no? The second question was, should there be a levy establishing a budget for said Parks and Rec district? After the election, the first question was yes, form a district. No, we don't want to pay for it.
okay.
And that has been the circumstance. There was, as part of when the district was formed, as part of that initial thing, there were candidates for the different board seats that would serve. Those were elected, they were seated. The Parks and Rec board did meet and they conducted business. I believe they went out twice to try, they asked for a levy to fund the district for their budget. The voters said no both times. And so it really was defunct because they had no dollars to work with. They tried to do it, with donations or, fundraisers, look for grants, different things. And ultimately the board stopped meeting. And after a period of time, there's been no activity. There's no officers. There's nobody's run for the seats. There's nothing. And so we were at that point where the voters established the district and then only the board can then dissolve it if it's been inactive per the statute. And that's where we're at today.
Okay, so I have a question. Is it Glenwood that has a county park or Trout Lake?
They both do.
Okay, so who's paying for those?
This is different than in Parks and Rec District was not established to maintain. It doesn't have any assets, any of the parks. We pay for that. The county does now. We all do.
Okay.
Any county park is currently funded and this would have no impact on that.
Okay, so I live in Dellsport and I've been there since 2000 this time. And across, excuse me, I took pictures. Across the street from my house are signs that say Klickitat County Park. So, and it establishes all the rules, and there's one on 6th Street and one on D Street. So we're hearing a rumor that the county wishes to sell this property to be developed. And we have been waiting for a park. I haven't been able to nail it down if it was donated to the county for a community park or not. I've heard 3 different stories on it, so I'm not really sure where I go to research that.
Okay.
So I spent Sunday and part of yesterday talking to neighbors, and I didn't have a lot of time. And I have 120 signatures here that want our community park. We have nothing.
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna stop you because it's not really relevant to the question before us.
Okay.
The county park, that's a great issue and we'd be happy to talk about it. What the board decides or doesn't decide today will have 0 impact on that.
But wouldn't this park be in the district?
No, it would no more, it would be an asset of the district. The district wouldn't have maintained it. The district wouldn't have done anything. It will continue as it has. It's
Okay,
a county owned, so it's owned by the county.
okay,
And it will continue if the Parks and Rec District would not, even if it existed and had a budget,
Mhm.
it wouldn't be
Wouldn't have
charged
control
with
over that.
maintenance or making decisions about that
so
park.
you're saying Park and Rec wouldn't have had anything to do with this?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so how come we don't have a park? from-
Well, that would be a different
So how-
conversation
I know.
to this hearing.
Okay,
It's a
so
different public
how do I find out about that from you guys? How can we get a park in
Okay,
there?
let me defer that for just a little bit. because
Okay.
When I have, this is actually a formal public hearing
Okay,
about the dissolution of the Parks and Rec District. Understanding that it's easy to be confused. that
Right.
You would think a park and a Parks and Rec District would be related to each other.
Okay.
And in this case, they're not.
okay.
So, so do you have any comments on the dissolution of the Parks and Rec District that's not related to the park in Dallasport?
And you did call it a park.
It is a park,
Okay,
and it
No.
will be a park no matter what we do at the end of the day.
okay, so if you dissolve Park and Rec,
The park is still a park.
the park will still be a park?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So
You
you
have my
guys are,
word.
you guys are gonna talk about that, so we don't need to.
No, we can
volunteer.
talk because, and if we have, I think we have some time. I want to come back because you came all this way.
Okay,
We'll continue on the agenda.
That would be good because I would like information not only from you, but from her as well.
Yeah.
So if we can squeeze a little time.
Yeah,
we will.
okay. Okay, I'll go back to my chair.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for being here. Okay, we are still, this is a public hearing on the dissolution of dissolving the Park and Recs District. Is there anybody else that wishes to provide public testimony, both for or against? Not about parks, the Park and Rec District. If you're online, I'll look in the room. We had some new folks join us. Might be big rah, 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 Parks and Rec folks. No, not seeing anybody online. Okay, well then I am going to close the hearing to further public comment, discussion by the board.
I have none other than it would have been a wonderful thing for the community to step up and fund a good department like Parks and Rec that can provide for its community. Unfortunately, they chose not to. That is not in my control. I just wish they would have.
And I'd like to clarify that the community that this was centered around originally did step up,
Yeah.
create the pool, Park and Rec. And they were working on achieving the funds to build a new pool. If I remember correctly, back in 2010, 2011, a lot of the discussion was, is anybody from Dallasport and Glenwood and Willard going to go to White Salmon to go to a pool?
Right.
And so that's why they went back and redesigned and reconfigured those areas. Once they've done that, if Dallasport wants to create their own Park and Rec district for their own purposes, I'd be fully in support of that. But, you know, for the purposes of what happened originally, the goal and the intent, I think that was served with what came afterwards, and I'm would be ready to make a motion whenever you are, sir.
Okay. Yes, I would agree with you. Now, I had some really pertinent thing that I
Profound wisdom.
profound that I was listening so intently to you. Oh, I know, now I remember is, and then we'll go to the clerk. This formation and the levy question being separated we have actually used that as an example of we will not do that ever again. Is that you can't separate the questions. Do you want something? And not, it's like, no, if you want it, you have to pay for it. They go together.
I thought that was a no-go, and this is the reason.
That's
now
the
a no-go.
reason. That's where it came from. So it's a cautionary tale of don't form a district and don't, that
The levy
doesn't,
separately.
and put the levy separately. And because we potentially could have had the alternate problem where people said no to the district and yes to the levy, which I don't know what, I can't imagine, but it's possible. And so that's the reason why now we only, the question they go together.
Funded if you're gonna create it.
If you're gonna create it, it's only created if it's funded. Because we have this where this board, this district has not been active for a long time, yet we have carried it on the books because we have to. You can't, it's really hard to undo something that the people put in place, rightly so. So. And with that, I would entertain a motion.
There are actually two
Oh, sorry.
motions that we need.
Okay.
The first would be the resolution in a matter of adopting the findings, conclusions, and decisions. And then they're followed by the ordinance in the matter of dissolving the inactive Mount Adams Park and Rec District. Draft. It's not on the blue card, but it's in the back.
It is in the procedure.
So you want number one here first.
Yeah, they go in order.
Do we need to read this whole thing?
No. sir.
No, if you
Basic-
look,
Basically, it's
I should
your,
look
in
in
the
the
matter of,
yeah, it just says you have your sample, your draft or.
Mr. Chairman, I would
Thank
make
you.
a motion to approve the resolution adopting the findings of fact, the conclusions, and the decision in determining that the park district does meet the criteria for the dissolution at this time. And
Do I have a second on that?
I don't second that.
All these procedures have to be followed because we're taking legal
So
action.
we haven't done this one.
We've never done this before. So, okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
would make a motion to approve the ordinance dissolving the special purpose district.
I would second that motion.
I have a motion and a second, adopting the ordinance in the matter of dissolving the inactive Mount Adams Park and Rec District pursuant to RCW. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. It is now dissolved.
Oh,
And just for the
I just
record,
now
should
found
be-
the document, so perfect.
it should be noted that we are then writing off about $18,000 of those were expenses that there never was
Never got paid.
we never got paid, because there was never any levy proceeds to get reimbursed from. So,
And that was a lesson we learned.
lesson learned.
That's the county debt essentially that we've paid and it's just been carried on the books.
So now Brenda gets to clean the book stuff.
Dude, we want to have a discussion about the park so she can.
Yeah,
go
because sure,
before-
you hear, I am, if you're okay with it, good. Okay, yes, come back up. Let's continue this.
Okay,
The park that still exists,
okay,
it's
so.
still there, didn't go
Okay.
away.
So I have this petition, I have 120 people that have signed it, saying that they have waited. Well, the one person I know has waited over 4 decades for that park. And we need a park, and what do we do to get you to give us a park?
Okay.
Since it's county money, right? So
County
basically,
land, county money,
and our money is county money.
absolutely.
So what are we gonna do?
We've been
Can I
trying to
have some
figure that out.
history on this piece of land and how we got it, where we got it, where promises made?
You're mostly referring to there's 2 different parcels.
This is the one. This is a 6 and D, it's, I don't know. I heard this, they built a new school on the other one, but I don't know.
Right, where the school, that's also county park land.
Yeah.
Is that the
6
triangle?
and D is
No, that's the
5.5
one
acres.
she's-
No, 6 and D is 5.5 acres.
Right.
Acres, not the triangle.
Right,
Well, that's the triangle.
That's the
Right.
triangle, right. Highlighted in yellow.
And the other one is,
The other
the
one.
balance,
The
the,
balance of
that, the other, that's
So
a
this all you-
trapezoid.
It is a trapezoid. Good call.
Oh, my. Your wife is so
Geometry
proud of
teacher would
you.
be so proud of me.
Yes, they would.
Would be fine. So yeah, both of those, there is some question, that's actually something we've asked for information on the, because at least one of those, the one that the school was on, we
Mhm.
believe came into county ownership as part when it was a reservation when the original plat of Dallasport was done way, way back. Then it established, it was public land, it was set aside for a public park. And that's how the county ended up with it.
And you're talking about where the school is or the?
Where the
truck?
school is, the
Okay.
one on the triangle on D Street. I don't know that, because there has been some talk of it was donated that potentially it could have been donated for a park with that it has to be, can only be used for park purposes.
Right.
And that's one of the things that if the county was contemplated not using it for a park, we would have to know that if we were going to surplus it or what we were going to do for it.
But we didn't set this land aside for a park. It was
No.
given.
Oh, this is a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Long,
It
long
was-
time
it was
ago.
As I said, I'm digging into history.
Yeah, yeah, it's, and I've heard
It
that
was
there
not,
was an
but
elderly.
it is on
lady-
the book. It is
Yeah.
parkland. It's owned by the
books.
county and it's on the books. as
But you
park.
don't know where it came from, basically.
So we need a full title report. We've talked to the treasurer multiple times. He's been dealing with a lot of stuff throughout COVID and everything, and it's on one of the priorities that he has left to do.
Okay.
Just
So,
the triangle piece, or is he looking into the trapezoid?
well, the trapezoid's got a school on it, right?
No, that's the portion
It's
that
got
we
the
still
track.
have.
Oh, okay, because where the, like, the track and the,
The half of the track is on the
and
county
then the
property,
softball field or whatever.
is on the school property.
Okay.
It all was county.
And then the
park originally.
supervisor or the superintendent of the school district said they have to keep those because that's a facility that they have to have for the school, so even though the school's a mile, but they're not maintaining it,
Right.
so, yeah.
Which is the larger question is the community wants a maintained, they actually want a park to use
Holy cow.
in Dallasport. There's lots of activity.
Yeah.
And so hopefully the backhoe doesn't come through the window.
Yes, that's what.
Are you watching?
I bet the she's watching, if she's open.
If he flinch.
Yeah, every time it goes by, I watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So as
So what do we
to
need?
what do we do? It would take additional resources to go into that park. That would be something that the community needs to advocate for during the budget process.
So this can.
That, we can take that today and put it
Okay,
in there.
and
as
you
far
can
as-
take these pictures
We
today.
could take those pictures today, and that would be something that would come up as the board is deciding on where to allocate resources. You obviously are advocating that you would like to see some resources went into, enhancements at that public park.
Yes.
I want to be honest, it's a difficult, because
This year.
there's only resources. That means we have to take it from somewhere else and put it.
And I understand that, that you guys have to budget everything out and plan everything out. But Dallasport is growing.
Yes.
And so we're creating revenue for you. And we'd like some of that revenue to make a park.
Okay.
So when is the next budget?
We will have our first public budget hearing is typically,
That's the workshop.
that's the workshops for us. So we will put together the preliminary budget and then it'll go out and that will be your opportunity to comment on that.
Okay.
That would be in, I want to say October, so in November, early November, we
Okay.
must decide on next year's budget. We have to adopt it by the end of the year, by December.
Okay.
But there will be at least 2 opportunities for
For us
folks
to
to
come.
comment and you can make your case.
I would love it when they comment. I know this sounds pretty harsh, but since we don't have extra funds, like he said, we'd have to rob Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
If we're gonna drop 100,000 in this park, I gotta take the 100,000 away from some other department.
Right.
some guidance on what department you would like me to take the 100,000 from.
I don't think that's a fair question to ask me. I think I'm trying to be really cooperative.
I know, I'm just trying to get you to make my life easier.
Yeah, but you know, we've been waiting, what, how many years? I know that one of my neighbors moved there 45 years ago on
Lucky
6th Street,
lady,
and we're
yeah.
told there's gonna be a park across the street, and they're getting really old, and they would like to see a park before we put them in the ground,
Okay.
you know, unless we put them in the ground in the park.
So Lynn, I brought this up during my campaign. This is something that I've been looking at, and knowing the budget and knowing where we are financially. I'm all for public-private partnerships. Yes, I want to see a park. I don't know how the county's gonna find the dollars to build it and then maintain it. We also have this thing called affordable housing that we need. And one of the things that is a possibility is if we can do an affordable housing project that incorporates the park as, you know, the key feature. So the park is good for everybody, and that build out ends up paying for it. And so we're killing two birds with one stone. The community gets the park. We also get affordable housing, workforce housing, the things that the community at large needs, and we use private dollars to pay for it. So that's one of those options that are out there that was what I would like to hear from the community council and the community that would be potentially interested in something like that. Because it might be 40 more years until we can find the dollars.
You'll get the dollars way before then. I'm promising you. But Mr. Anderson, having been a child of a real estate agent and a real estate broker in LA, there is no such thing as affordable housing. Because what happens is that people build all these, you build, thank you. You come in and you build these houses that are affordable housing, and some guy comes in and buys 10 of them and rents them out, and they go out of the affordable housing market, and it happens over and over again.
I'm probably the first person that would agree with you that there's no such thing as affordable housing on the west end of Klickitat County, which is why we're looking at the new innovative ways in which to keep this affordable. And one of those ways is that the land itself would still be owned by the county. So we have control, we have a say in that matter. The people who are building it are bringing in the private dollars. They're going to get an ROI that's going to be set, you know, what percentage of those have to be rented. Their apartments would have to be rented at these rates.
Okay, but this property on the, I think it's the 1930, no, I don't know if it's the 1930, is R1. That parcel is R1.
And that parcel is public, I believe.
But on one of the old, because you guys have a tendency to go back to 1913 on the plat maps, it's R1. So you can't really, so we figured out because of what's happening between 6th Street and, 3rd Street and 6th Street, where they're building right now, the houses, that we had to fight for bigger setbacks because of the wind and air conditioners. So there could only be 16 homes on that property anyway. Because you have to deal with these setbacks that we set. We have a precedent. You weren't on the board. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know, I think I know what you're talking about.
We
but
talked
I'm gonna
about-
stop our conversation.
Okay, because
We're
going far afield.
We are going far afield, and that's, there's lots to talk about on this, but your point is well taken. We hear from you as far as the community wants an improved park in
Okay.
Dallasport. As far as the method of how we pay for it, and how it gets done, there's lots to talk about.
Okay, so the next time you have a budget meeting, we need to come or what?
Yeah, you can submit written comments,
Okay.
email, you can come in person. It's nice to see people once in a while that aren't,
Yelling at you.
yelling at me, beating me over the head. Metaphorically speaking.
Okay.
And I want to go on record to saying I am pro park. I don't know that I can look in my budget book and find the funding for such things, so it's on my radar. But I have no promises at this point.
Well, I know there's people in Dallasport who would be happy to work on that park. You know, if we had something started.
Is there no public parks, playground equipment, any of that kind of thing in Dallasport? I started to think that you're talking
They
about.
moved, the school moved theirs
Other than the
to
school
Lyle.
itself, I haven't seen.
Well, there's the softball field and the track, which is on the east side of the school.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you're saying half of that's county and half of it's school. And then there's the whole school and stage check issue, which I think they resolved. And there's some playground equipment behind the school,
Right.
which I believe belongs to the fire department. Because of they haven't ever got the boundaries straightened out, so, but they've got stakes out there now. So that's it.
Well, thank you for bringing this to my attention.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And okay, you're done. Thank you. Hey, the lady behind you.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
One question. You keep saying there's no money. You just saved $18,000
Thank
two
you.
things ago
No,
that you don't have to spend anymore. So you've got
no. That's $18,000 debt that actually is.
That was written off.
We wrote it off.
Wait. I'm a girl. I just saved you $18,000.
Well, while you're at it, find me 1.7 million.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, Ron.
Get with Jen and find me 1.7 million.
Happy to give my time to anybody.
Yeah,
I would rather
all
have
right.
them come back for. another
Casey has
hour.
a quick.
Yes, I'm gonna sneak in and request, the Public Health Department is requesting to add another temporary casual, public health nurse to help with the, COVID
What could they be
duties, right?
doing?
I know. And so, she is requesting verbal to add another position. We will present a resolution if she gets that okay to do that. And
And
post
it's
for
brought the
that.
money, it's funded.
It's funded.
Fully funded, no budget impacts to me at all.
Correct.
Yes, I have more than
Go with
enough
that.
money to finish the year out. We had 75 cases last week. And we're anticipating to be busy again this fall when school starts, and we also need to start working on boosters, and frankly, we just don't have it in our bandwidth. We have a couple of people who have expressed interest in helping us out in this manner, and so we're asking for this additional position. So all of my temp casual positions up until this point, everyone knows that they're good till December 31st. That's how much funding I have. We'll see what happens December 30th before we talk about what that will look like going forward.
So then the resolution presented would request the additional casual temporary public health nurse and the extension of these positions to December 31st of 2021.
And as long as they're funded and you bring your money, you have my approval.
It's just so easy when there's money sitting there.
Well, it's.
That you can't.
See,
use it for
See,
anything.
we never say no when people bring their own money.
Somebody left her, what can we borrow?
I was gonna say, if she didn't bring her own money, she wouldn't like my answer right now.
So yes.
Okay, and then she is also requesting to hire a temporary casual nurse practitioner to fill that position while that person is out on leave. She just doesn't feel that they will be able to provide the services needed while that person's out on leave, and so she's requesting to
Also do a temporary backfill of the one.
of the nurse practitioner. Yes, yes.
Yes. Clarification, this is with the same money you're bringing to the table.
No, it's actually different money.
But it's money you already
It's
have.
funded, yeah.
Yeah.
Fully funded, you're not asking for more money.
No, we just we need the body.
Yeah.
Nope. I agree.
Yes.
Okay.
If you have any park equipment laying
Yeah.
I
Lawn
think I have a
mower.
hard time explaining. Playground.
Oh, that
It's
seems
COVID,
like it,
so-
you know, it's sort of a
Negotiate.
public health
It's like
thing.
mental health.
It is, as I said,
Exactly.
it's public health, it's mental health.
Good afternoon, commissioners.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
So I'm here to let you know what the new L&I requirements for mask mandates. We received the,
Well, this is the official.
this is the official,
Okay.
yes, L&I requirements.
Say there's not something new from this morning, is there? Okay.
Typically following the governor, or in this case, the Secretary of Health proclamation.
Wow, we did.
Keep going, we just lost our.
Oh,
It's only of us, not of him.
We work under the guidance of L&I. L&I is the agency that we have to comply with for workplace safety, and their guidance was issued yesterday. Public Health Director, Public Works Director, the prosecuting attorney, and I reviewed it and agreed on that email to go out to the staff, ran by the chair pending the full board meeting. The basic change is, trying to boil this down and not confuse myself, the basic change is if an employer or department is interacting with the public, then the employee has to wear a mask, whether they're vaccinated or not. whether it be a department or employee. They've also defined alone an office space now, so the plexiglass where an unvaccinated employee could go to their workspace and not have to wear a mask, that no longer meets the definition under the new rules. So the big change really is if you interact with the public, it's yes or no. And if the answer is yes, the employee wears a mask all the time. If it's no, then the vaccinated employees can continue not to wear a mask, and the unvaccinated employees continue to wear the mask. That has not changed. So the key difference is interacting with the public accessibility. And then where we had these plexiglass or room dividers set up, that no longer constitutes a private office or a loan. And so, and an employee who's working in an office with the door closed and no unnoticed interactions, people can't walk in and out, they can take their mask off.
That's an unvaccinated.
Yeah. So basically unvaccinated employees pretty much have to wear their mask all the time.
Or be in a closed
Or
office.
be in a closed office with the door closed.
I'm looking behind you.
Yeah.
Your parents going.
She'll throw it down.
No. Rob did a good
The
job
eyebrow.
putting this together for us, and I had a little confusion, and he kept me straight. So
Good.
this is all
Yeah.
Rob's deal. He did all the hard work.
Rob Ward never to volunteer again.
Yes. But we appreciate him volunteering.
Yes, we do.
They're busy doing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna eat yet.
That could have went many
Also
directions.
really important stuff.
So those are the major changes we've issued it to all the employees, department directors, elected first. I was elected to notify them first. And then went to all employees at the end of the day yesterday, and today we're attempting to be in compliance. But with so many different workplaces, different office setups, they're all different, it'll be different in each case, probably.
And I'm assuming as each department head or office contacts you, you work with them under their office conditions to work them through that guidance.
Yes, sir. They can contact Gordy or I, Aaron, or the PA, and together we'll try and, help them interpret the rules for their particular workspace as best we can. And I think,
And of course, electeds are hopefully following the guidance, but they're elected so they can do what they choose. Well, I agree, but they're also,
well,
I guess I should
will-
stipulate that and go over and above that. They're also on the hook legally for disobeying, I will even use the word disobeying an LNI order if LNI had a problem with what they were doing.
Right, which is consistent with before, as
The
far as
previous policy, right.
I can't force another elected to do anything.
Right,
but
that's
to
all I'm
understand-
saying.
right,
That's all I was
okay.
trying to say without.
and I've talked to a number of the electeds today. Everybody's just trying to figure out how to do it. Nobody's not trying to figure out how to do it that I've talked to.
Good.
So,
As I would expect.
yes.
I agree.
So that's it for, it's just, those are the major changes. So for some folks, it hasn't changed much at all. The departments that have been locked to the public previously, this doesn't impact them because they didn't have walk-through traffic. So it's just a few minor changes, I think, overall. So the next,
Does our police tape out here constitute a barrier?
I'm just hoping tobacco guy hasn't had too much coffee.
Just to, I guess I would clarify to the public, one more way this board is, in my opinion, going above and beyond for transparency. Under the governor's order, we do not have to have in-person meetings. We could have Zoom meetings, and then we are not open to the public, and we as commissioners can take these masks off. We as commissioners, it looks like, are going to keep our open public meetings and then allowing the public in, and we are putting this mask on so that we can have that transparency. So I just wanted to point that out to the public.
And I think it's good to know because I get asked this a lot too. Why we have to comply. And the first line under requirements on LNI is employers must maintain a safe COVID-free work environment by, it doesn't say, it says must. So we are under an obligation to meet.
Right. And I do remind people is the county is, I mean, the county is many things, but it's also an employer. And, you know, I ran a construction business for years and had to comply. I had employees and you know, Ellen and I would come and do audits and you have to comply and, you know.
Or you could pay a $200,000 fine.
Or you could pay it.
Fund the department and close 3 parks.
Yeah, right. Yes. You keep spending that $18,000 that we wrote off.
Debit, credit, you know.
Yeah, debit,
it's all
credit.
confusing.
So yes, you can knock.
I
it down,
heard
but
Jen
there's
fall off her
consequences
chair
to
in the
it.
other office. Oh, she's always hiding behind that. All right.
No new.
Do you sit there on purpose? Is that a?
Yes.
Okay, God, I have to be so.
So that's a good segue.
I'm gonna get a
Mirror.
no, I'm gonna get a picture of her face and I'm gonna put it on the post.
We're all,
You gotta put Dave McClure's right next to it.
Yeah, I know, that's, yeah, you and he.
we're all trying to figure out where we're gonna hide in the new.
Yeah, there's no post in the new
post.
building, so,
We can
all right,
install
thank
one
you.
just for you.
Yeah.
So with that segue, sir, Jen Bartlett,
On that
fiscal manager, has an
Yeah.
item to discuss with the commission.
We're good.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Go back to work.
Feels like work here. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, this is just fun.
I am requesting some clarification on vehicles in the VR&R fund. IT was able to extrapolate the data out of an old database that was being used to do this, that I don't have access to. I got all of that into this legal working doc here. I left you a copy of my working document. I know it's really tiny, and it's not presentation worthy, I get that. But I'm trying to get rates for department heads for the budget process. And in the old data, there was replacement years and replacement miles. So do we replace at a 10-year mark or 100,000 mile mark? Or do we replace at the mileage mark? Then
Yes. This was all going to be, I've been having conversations with her. Obviously, you know, I'm interested in fleet management.
Right.
Prior history for me, when I got out of high school, I became an ASC certified automotive mechanic. I was a master technician for 12 years. Over and above, I was probably one of the top 3 paid mechanics in the state of Oregon at the time. Since then,
you left it all for this.
I left it to be efficient, guys.
Yeah, well,
Since then,
I was
yes,
gonna say that on the
everything
record,
from
but-
about the year 2001 on, I don't claim to have expert knowledge on. But with that, I would go so far as to back in the 80s and early 90s, warranties were 3 years and 36,000 miles for a reason. In the 90s, early 90s, I would even say, warranties went from 10 years, 100,000 miles, with oil changes going from every 3,000 miles up to every 5,000, some cases 7,500, because of the longevity of the engines. With that, in today's vehicles, I would be very confident to say the standard gasoline engine, 200,000 miles, unless you buy one of the flunky Ford engines that I won't talk about that only go 175. And most diesels will go 300,000 or more. So us with our current fleet at 10 years and 100,000 miles we're giving up halfway. I think we need to, in my opinion, push. To me, it isn't so much the year, it's the mileage out. And in all reality, I don't think 200 is a bad number. I think 150 is a low number. And then part of the fleet management program would be to keep track of maintenance on those vehicles so that we do find ourselves with a lemon, like one of those couple of Ford engines that I mentioned. We would have the documentation of those and we can replace them $25,000. Am I talking too much?
No, I agree with you.
So my recommendation would be not so much a year, but the year can completely go away as far as I care. It would be a mileage, and I would say a fair assessment would be in that 150 to 175 range. And I would make my recommendation for 175.
You still want to keep it at 10 years? Because I'm looking at the average miles per year. And so if you're at 175,000, but if you look at adult probation, building inspection, all that, and you go 10 years, you're still only going to be 64,000.
Right, and that's what I said, I wouldn't even have a year mark, because if a vehicle doesn't work after 10 years, every classic car wouldn't be on the street today.
Right. And I would say historically, it was like the black box that it went in and things turned around
The
and came
10-year
out.
work on
The
a
10, it was, the
on a
year was
warranty,
never,
the reason auto manufacturers put a 10-year or a 3-year or a whatever on a warranty was in hopes that you would time out before you mileage down. So for us, we don't want a timeout before the car breaks down. They were hoping you would time out before the car breaks down.
right. I would say the year was never, that was just more of a guide than anything. It wasn't like, no, but it was the mileage was I will say, and maybe I'm wrong, and I will probably get in trouble, but I think there were some classes of vehicles that are different. We have treated them different, namely patrol.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's
say,
like we had always said, we don't want for patrol officers that are relying on their vehicles. It's not the same thing. If I am the assessor's office and I'm on my way to do it's, or if the building inspector and my car breaks down on the way, it's tragic, it's bad, it's inconvenient, but it probably doesn't threaten my life. It is potentially, so patrol was always on a different, it really was time and miles, but it was.
And the miles are actually higher.
They're actually higher because they drive so much, so.
and patrol is put
In
into
groups,
groups.
right, and that was why we just
I don't
under.
have
they're
a
on a
problem
cycle.
with Patrol being in a different group. I still think 100,000
Yeah.
miles is a low number. They could time that out.
It's actually 125.
Is there 125?
I know you can't see it. So
Yeah.
Without staring and making.
I need a seeing eye dog.
I can,
What's that?
I can,
Yeah,
I still think that's a low number, but I can rally behind.
right, but I do think,
I can
as far as
see the reason.
anything else, yeah, it should be miles. I think we can move those up, and it should be, the only other part of the time was more, you take the average mileage times by what it's gonna be, and we need to know, that's what drives the replacement schedule. So it's like if you're driving 10,000 miles a year, or let's make it easier, 20,000 miles a year, and we're gonna replace at 150, we know how many years, so then it's like, we bought it now, that means your rental rate needs to be, so that we've saved up enough in that 7 years to replace that vehicle. And that's what sets your rental rate.
Right.
The part that's a little bit of hocus pocus is you have to try to figure out what's that vehicle gonna cost 7 years from now,
Right.
and then back that number up. Because if you just take the number when we bought it, the car I bought 7 years ago, I can't replace for what I spent 7 years ago. And so I need to save up.
Right,
We've had those.
so, the information that I had, that I could, I guess, try and figure out how this all worked out was, in years past, department heads or directors had, been sent out a document with a list of vehicles on it, and they were to fill in their current mileage, their replacement year, and then get that back to me, or the person in my position. And within the old data, like I said, he had annual or average miles per year, and then he had replacement miles, and then he also had replacement years. So I wasn't sure who was responsible for determining when the replacement year was, and did it go off of miles or did it go off of years, or a little bit of both, because there was some conflicting information there. And then the department heads were also to come up with the current year, budget year's replacement value by going out and doing that research for themselves. And he did leave me a little blurb that he added an annual 5% inflation rate as well. So that's part of that calculation. I got that calculation worked out. I just needed clarification on whether I should be changing the replacement years by, where I anticipate their average their miles
I
being.
was gonna say, should we
And-
list a replacement year? Because one department might go 10,000 miles a year and one goes 20. That year is gonna be completely different.
Well, it's gonna be different vehicle by vehicle.
Right, and
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 that's
I
how
added in-
generally, because you do have, like, each vehicle has its savings account that goes with it. And because we've amended those before where you're looking and you're like, I know that this was scheduled to be replaced because of based on your
Right.
number that you're driving, well, you're actually not driving as much. And like COVID would throw that all off too, where we had
Right.
like a year and a half of